Hi, welcome back to Genesis Custom Sabers. And today I'm going to show you something a little bit simpler than usual. If you want to put a really cool blaster mark like this on your wall or on a door, assuming that you own the place, because you might not want to do this if you're a renter, we're going to use flat black spray paint, a little bit of sandpaper, and a little bit of cardboard, and I'm going to show you how to do this. For spray paint, I've tried a lot of different flat blacks, and this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch is a really good flat black if you want to achieve kind of a burnt effect, which is what we're going for here. Blaster mark, burn, score mark. The only other things I'm going to use are a little bit of gold model paint and a little bit of silver model paint, and I'll show you step by step how to accomplish something like this to make your layer a little cooler. Now, as you can see, I've been at this for a little while already. I've got some old junked cardboard. For my nice template, I'm going to use a flat piece. This was rolled up. But what I wanted to do is I basically just want to cut out different shapes. As you can see, I start with a center point, and then I basically just make my arms of different lengths off. This is going to be a ricocheted style. This one's going to be more of a direct hit. And basically I just cut out, the idea, and then I put it on some cardboard, hit it with spray paint, practice how far off the cardboard I want my template to be. It's all about practicing and trying to dial in exactly the effect that you're looking for. Okay, I've made my template, two different styles of blaster mark, and I've tested them on the cardboard in various places, as you can see here. And when I put it up on the wall, I'm going to mask areas that I don't want spray to creep across the edge there, because otherwise it'll leave a line on my wall. It may not look like there's any spray there, but I just want to be really careful. So you want to make sure that you're testing and trying as much as possible, so that when you're ready to put this up on your wall and hit it with spray paint, it's going to go as you expect, as much as possible. Okay, I want to show you too that on the flip side of my template, I've got these little foam bits spaced throughout. And what these are is, I've cut these to be about 3/8 of an inch thick. So what that does is that keeps my template about 3/8 of an inch away from the wall, so that when I'm spraying, it's not going to give me sharp lines, it's going to give me kind of a blended lines, misted lines, which is what I'm looking for. So I've actually I've tested different depths of these different little spacers, and I found that this works really well for what I'm looking for. And so I've hot glued them on. I want to make sure that I've hot glued them not really close to the template, because I don't want the spray wash to form around the shapes of these. I want them to be far enough away. So I've tested this a couple of times just so that I know that it's my ideal depth, and it's going to work great. Now you want to make sure you do a lot of practice runs on things like cardboard and whatnot before you actually try it on your wall, because you're going to get one shot at this. So you want to make sure you know what you're doing and you get it right. A little bit nervous, I don't want to screw this up. So I've masked my area. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any spray that strays onto the wall. So this first step I want to do very, very lightly. Just a little bit of a light dusting to outline the pattern, and then I'll hit it with a couple of spots for the second pass. Okay, so I got my spray ready to go. Test. Really light. All right. I've got this held on with magnets. I'm going to check a little bit more at the top there. And I think that's perfect for step one. Okay, I've taken off my masking, and I've hit it with a couple of quick bursts in the direction that I want the blaster to kind of ricochet. So as you can see, it's a little bit wet in the middle there. I just aimed for the middle and did a couple of quick shots to kind of give a dispersal pattern. And I think I'm happy. That is my blaster mark. I'm going to leave that there, and then probably going to sand off a little dot in the middle, looking like burnt metal. And it's coming along nicely. Okay, now this second one is even more of a ricochet. So I've done the same kind of thing as I did with the other one. I've got my spacing right, I've got my masking right, and I'm ready to do, again, really light dusting from the same direction. I'm going to do my ricochet effect. I'll do that a little bit later. Okay, hit the corners. I think that's it. Do a quick little check, but carefully pulling this away. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, this second one, even more than the first, I want my secondary spray to go in a direction. So I'm going to hold the can even at more of an angle, and I'm going to very carefully aim for the center where the blaster bolt would hit, right there. I want to back up a little bit so I can get some good spray. Yeah, I think that's it. Let that dry, and we'll move on. Okay, the paint on this one's dry. So I've got some 150 grit sandpaper, and I've made a nice little corner there. And what I want to do is I want to just basically just lightly mark where, and stand back and make sure that looks like, yeah, that's the right spot intersecting all of these arms where my blaster would have hit. And I make a little mark there, and then I just lightly fan out the paper. In fact, that corner's a little too much, so I'm going to use a softer corner. Basically make just tiny little marks. The success or failure of these little things is often just in the details. So you can see I'm getting down to the primer, the white primer that's underneath my gray paint. If I keep going, I can actually get down to just bare metal. But rather than go down that deep, I will probably just do a little bit of silver paint on that. Just to mark, I can already see some silver poking through there. Some metal. So just basically to mark where the center is, and I'm going to accent that with some paint, and then we'll be done. Okay, so as you're going, two things I want to point out. One, less is more. So doing things in little amounts, and then you can stand back, take a look at it, and correct it. And one of those things I'm going to correct now. I've actually done some more testing on this guy here, and I've done some spray from further back just to kind of give it almost like a halo of spray, and I like that effect. And I think that it's required here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray over this little work that I've done, and I'm going to redo that with the sandpaper a little bit later. But this is what I'm talking about. Just aim for the center. Way further back. You can see a bit of the effect I'm looking for right now. I want to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. There we go. Yeah. Now you may only notice a subtle change, but from further back it just looks a little bit more real. All right, I've sprayed it out. I've resanded it a little bit. I'm going to use this Tester's 1144 gold because I want the metal, bare metal at the center to look burned. So I'm going to take a little bit of my paintbrush and I'm just going to do some really light, again, just very light details. So I thought silver metal, when it's burnt, it's kind of gold and off color tinges to it. And I'm just adding a tiny little bit around the perimeter. The idea is the hottest parts in the middle, and then I'll probably just dab that with a little cloth or paper towel to kind of thin that out. Again, less is more, little details. I'm also going to use a little bit of silver right in the middle. Same kind of effect. By dabbing the brush like that, I get kind of the same, almost like spray paint effect. And it gives me what looks like a nice little burn spot right in the middle of my blaster mark. There is the finished product. A nice blaster mark on my garage door.